on an island off the coast of Turkey about 93 A.D. And that it was an end time for the Christians at that time to keep them in line. When I read Revelations, it was not a book which is designed to be loving as Christ was. We see it in the main part as a book of tribulations, of fear and suffering and the end times. We would say to you that, in fact, Revelations is not that end time prophecy, but rather we look past the words that are negative in there and see a hope for a new future of a new city of light, and take out the words that are negative and restrictive. For example, the end of Revelations, in verse 18, testify to everyone who hears the prophetic words of this book. If anyone adds to them, God will add to the plagues, add to him the plagues. And if anyone takes away from the words of this book, God will take away his share of the tree of life and the holy city written in this book. If you don't follow my words exactly, off with your head. Which was happening to Christians at that time, and also the Jews as well at that time too. It was meant to keep the faithful in line in 93 A.D. or 90 A.D., not as a way to end the Word of God. The Bible is not the be-all and end-all 2012. It was a living text, not a dead text. So Revelations also has in there, in chapter 22, the tree of life. And we see the tree of life, and again, in every culture in the world, from east and west and north and south. From the Mayans, the cibus tree, the trees of life in Ireland, the tree of life of rocks and stones in Egypt. We see the common stories around our planet, that life affirms itself. And that there have been leaders along the way who've tried to talk to us about becoming aware of our commonalities, not our differences. I was watching on PBS the last few weeks, History of India. Did anybody here see that other than me? Was that awesome? Yes, it was awesome, wasn't it, Sue? So 3 or 4 of you saw that in here. Where were the rest of you? Sleeping, watching 2.5 Men. Okay. Or some other intellectual program on TV, or falling asleep, or whatever. As I was watching the history of India, I was struck by the story of Buddhism and Hinduism, that there were leaders among those sects that preached oneness for all peoples. And 2 struck me really especially well. The ancient person of Ashoka, who lived from 274 to 232 BC. He became a mass murderer. He killed hundreds of thousands of people in a revolution in India, and then changed his ways after a trip to see the Bodhi tree, where the Buddha was enlightened. And again, the Bodhi tree in India is the tree of life. So we see it both in East and West. We have trees of life here in the United States. When he went there, he changed to a way that was common for all peoples. You'll hear next week talk about the Dharma. The wheel of Dharma for all people came forth to create a 2012 opening for all peoples to share commonalities.